90 minutes after seeing the explosion, the tanker Gaines Mill reports finding an oily film on the water, but no debris and no survivors. Did the Martin Mariner spontaneously explode in midair? If so, where was the wreckage? Or was it swallowed whole by some pretzel-bending warp of time and space? And what about Flight 19, the 5 Avengers that went missing earlier that same night? In Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the crew of Flight 19 is returned to Earth on board an alien spaceship. Is that just Hollywood fantasy?
Lieutenant, welcome home.
There are things that go on out there that we really don't know, and I don't have the answers.
But David White does know a thing or two about the missing flight that has come to define the enigma that is the Bermuda Triangle. In 1945, White was a flight instructor at the Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station.
Doing some TDMs, flying over.
He often flew the same training route in the same Avenger-type planes that disappeared.
These flights went out every day. This navigational training flight was one of 3 or 4 that we had, and it was really quite simple. No problem.
It's a simple 3-point route. The planes leave from Fort Lauderdale, conduct a practice bombing run on an old shipwreck off Hens and Chicken Shoals in the Bahamas, and continue eastward. At Great Stirrup Key, the young navigators are to turn northwest, cross Grand Bahama Island, and then turn for home off Great Sail Key. If all goes well, flight time is about 2.5 hours.
They all had their wings, and this training base was what they called an operational training base, which was the last flight training that pilots received before they went out to join the fleet.
But something goes horribly wrong on Flight 19. 90 minutes into the flight, instructor Charles Taylor believes he's not where he's supposed to be.
For a pilot with that much training to lose his way out over the Bahamas would be very rare. I don't remember it ever happening before.
According to official transcripts, Taylor radios that his compasses are malfunctioning and believes he has taken Flight 19 way off course.
I don't know where we are. We must have got lost after that last turn.
What is not clear is if the other pilots are also getting similar readings on their compasses.
Now, why didn't 4 other pilots contradict him and say we are on course? Why did they simply follow him? And that is the big mystery.
An even bigger mystery is why no one is able to pick up Flight 19 on radar. Whatever the reason, Taylor's voice is heard through the static of intermittent radio transmissions, and it is clear that he is lost.
I'm in the Keys. Don't know how far down. Don't know how to get to Fort Lauderdale.
By 4:26 p.m., the time when they should be landing, Flight 19 is in deep trouble. With only an hour of daylight and an estimated 2 hours of fuel remaining, there is disagreement among the pilots over which direction to take.
We would just head west to get home.
Thinking he is in the Keys, Taylor wants to head northeast, where he believes mainland Florida is. But one of his trainees, Marine Captain Edward Powers, who actually outranks Taylor, believes the planes are near where they should be, in the Bahamas. Powers wants to head west.
At this point, it appears there was a disagreement between Powers and Taylor, and only a few minutes after they went east, you can hear Taylor complaining you didn't go far enough east. And so Powers, apparently at that point on his own initiative, did turn the flight west and assumed command of the flight.
At 5:19 p.m., with daylight fading and no land in sight, Taylor is overheard preparing Flight 19 to ditch in the ocean.
First man gets down to 10 gallons of gas with all land and water together. Everyone understands that.
At 7:04 p.m., the skies over the Atlantic Ocean are pitch black, and bad weather is moving in. Another pilot from Flight 19, Joseph Bossi, is finally overheard. It is brief and barely audible.
Fox 3, Fox Tier 3, Fox Tier 3, to Fox 28.
It is the last anyone ever hears from Flight 19. Early the next morning, David White joins the largest air and sea rescue operation in Navy history. Not only is the Navy missing a squadron of torpedo bombers and their crews, incredibly, it is also missing a very large search plane that went looking for those torpedo bombers. That plane alone carries a crew of 13.
We were very surprised that we found no trace of any debris of any kind. We certainly expected to find someone in the water. Each of the crewmen had a Mae West, and there was a 3-man life raft on each airplane.
After 4 days, the search is called off, and 27 servicemen are officially entered in the Navy record books as lost at sea. But are they? 3 weeks after the search is called off, the family of one crewman receives a mysterious telegram that only deepens the mystery. A mystery that we hope to unlock out here. So a target would be a dark spot in there?
A target would usually have a bright side to it and then a dark shadow behind it.
The engine blocks were very, very heavy. There were 2 big, beautiful Pratt & Whitney engines, and they would have sank like stones.
Many adventurers have tried but failed to find the Avengers. Our search for them will explore new territory.
Back in here.
But before we get to that, we begin with a new search, an expedition that has never been launched before to find the missing search plane, the Martin Mariner.
They felt that they had the coordinates down and nailed pretty shut.
If our scientists and divers are able to find a small fragment, even a trace of the Mariner down there where the Navy says it is, then we may well hold the keys to a 60-year-old mystery.
It did sink in this area of the ocean. I have absolutely no doubt about it.
As the sun sets over the Bermuda Triangle on a balmy December evening in 1945, a total of 27 American servicemen are flying into oblivion. 5 Navy torpedo planes, out on a routine training mission over these waters, inexplicably get lost. And in an incredible coincidence, a large Navy search plane sent to look for them seemingly vaporizes in midair, leaving nothing but a greasy smudge on the ocean surface. The mystery of what happened to those planes on that night launches a pop culture legend.
There has to be an explanation somewhere for something like this.
In his yet-to-be-released book on Flight 19, Gian Quizar offers shocking new evidence to support his theory that the missing squadron did not crash in the ocean, as the Navy contends, but instead landed in a large swamp in Georgia.
There's only one place I would say they could have gone. The wind was still from the southwest. They would have to turn into the wind to ditch. If they turned southwest, I'd take them right over the heart of the Okefenokee Swamp.
To test Quizar's theory that the 5 Avengers actually landed in Georgia's Okefenokee Swamp, we are, for the first time ever, enlisting the resources of NASA to search for the missing squadron.
There it is. It looks like a pipe. It's about 20 feet long.
And with an unequaled assembly of scientists, oceanographers, and deep-sea divers, we are scouring the ocean floor, where witnesses on board the tanker Gaines Mill said they saw a flash of fire in the sky at the exact moment the Mariner disappeared from Navy radar screens.
The plane is made of